Hey everybody, it's Rebecca, and I'm out here in the wild, aka my backyard, to talk to you today about epistolary novels. The epistolary form goes far beyond journal entries and letters from one character to another, and actually includes all kinds of documentation that is used to further narrative development. So you've heard me talk about intertext in some previous videos, and epistolary novels, or novels with a strong epistolary component, are those that are really capitalizing on that idea of intertext. Now, we can find examples of the epistolary form in practically any genre you can think of. In horror, we have Carrie. In literary fiction, we have a super sad true love story. In historical, the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. Sci-fi, This Is How You Lose the Time War. Romance, Last Tank Standing. I mean, I could go on and on about novels that are using the epistolary format to great effect. So definitely seek out some of these novels in your favorite genres, or check out one of the 3 books that I'm about to detail here. The first is from my favorite author of all time. I know that's a hefty moniker, especially for fellow readers, intense readers, but Susanna Clarke most definitely deserves a top spot. This book, Piranesi, came out very recently, and this is 14 years after Susanna Clarke's debut, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. This is a significantly slimmer tome, right? Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell is something like a doorstep, but this is the story of Piranesi, who lives in a huge labyrinthine house that he believes is the whole world. Piranesi believes that only he and one other person live in this entire world, and he chronicles his time there in a series of journal entries. There's something really cool in Piranesi, which is an epistolary inception, right? We have journal entries within journal entries, and that contributes to winding tighter the mystery at the heart of this novel, which is, what is the nature of the house? How did Piranesi get here? And will he ever realize that there is something beyond these walls? One of the really brilliant things that Susanna Clarke does is she never falls prey to the epistolary sand trap of dramatic irony, right? So sometimes documents are only used to highlight a mystery that the audience can figure out really quickly, but that the characters can't know yet because of their limited worldview. But instead of that happening, right, in Piranesi, the tension between what Piranesi knows and what we understand is going on just heightens the drama instead of deflating it. And that's just a really fascinating sort of narrative trick. It comes because Susanna Clarke is such an accomplished writer, but also because the very nature of the epistolary format delivers a lot of tension. So certainly if you are working with journal entry style epistolary format, I recommend checking this out as soon as you can. The next book I want to talk to you about is a release from earlier this year. It's called Oona Out of Order, and it's by Margarita Montimore. So in this novel, we see letters from the main character, Oona, to herself as she time slips every year on her birthday. So the letters are used to orient her to the current circumstances of her world, because she might go from being 41 years old to being 23, or she might move in the opposite direction as well. So we never know where she's going to end up, and neither does she. And instead of relying on a kind of Groundhog Day style boring recitation of where am I and who am I, the epistolary component brings us very much into the present with a lot of immediacy. Structurally, the letters aren't all revelatory, right? They don't sort of outline everything that's going on, because that would be really boring for readers. Some of the letters are very brief and kind of cryptic. Others orient Oona and readers quite quickly to certain essential components of her current circumstances. But all of the letters propel Oona forward toward her goals. So a trap that you might fall into when you are writing an epistolary novel is info dumping. And the letters in Oona Out of Order avoid that trap really, really deftly. We never want to deliver big hunks of exposition that just feel like telling, and they're a little dull, and we're just delivering a lot of narrative instead of showing. This is a great example of how not to do that. The last book on my list today is actually from 2012. It's Where'd You Go, Bernadette by Maria Semple. This book uses memos, transcripts, emails to sort of tell the story of the disappearance of Bernadette through the paper trail she leaves behind. All of these documents are collected by our narrator, B, who occasionally does bring some more conventional narration to the novel as well. But largely we're looking at the absence of this character through the presence of all these documents. So if you're writing about a missing person, you are essentially making the subject of your novel something that is gone, something or someone. And so to fill that space dynamically requires quite a bit of narrative magic. And the documents in Where'd You Go, Bernadette definitely supply that magic in a big way. It's not by seeing Bernadette that we get to know her, but by seeing the evidence she's left in her wake. And I think that's a really interesting way to approach characterization. Certainly unique, certainly worth a look. Let me know in the comments what your favorite epistolaries are, or how you're using epistolary components in your own work. Let me know what you'd like me to read next, and I'll see you soon.